Hey folks, happy Monday. There you are. Kurt Von Onen here with Manana No Mas. And today, just jumping out simple. I left some of the branding off the screen, not trying to be too flashy. I just saw another post come through, and I've got some messages coming in as direct messages on LinkedIn today. And in my email, I'm seeing some other things pop up. Of course, as someone that runs the Power Sport Academy, we do run into businesses that have a seasonal business. And the the driving force of why I decided to make this kind of little message today is I got the sensation that people were saying, well, it's been kind of slow right now because of the snow, because of the ice, because of whatever, right? It's been slow right now, but blah blah blah. And the blah 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 part is not full of, so this is how we're preparing for the uptick. This is what we're putting into action today so that we can be more efficient tomorrow. This is the training we're implementing right now so we can be prepared when business ticks up. This is the muscle memory that we are creating through role play, training, best practice development, process development, things like that. Now, when I train with the Marine Retailers Association, one of the big things that we talk about there is process development, process mapping, process development, continual process improvement. And we keep going through this. And a lot of the training that I do, again with the Marine Retailers Association, a lot of like my busiest classes are when it's the slowest. Why? Because when it's the busy part of the season, dealership owners are generally doing battle. They are trying to optimize a busy time of season. So that's not the time for them to kind of pull back and reassess and do things, right? But if you don't pull back, reassess, and come up with process in those slow moments, you're not going to be ready to go when it's time to go. And so I think back to I used to work at Ducati North America. I had one of the best bosses ever when I first started at Ducati. His name was Austin Gray. I'm still in touch with Austin Gray. I love Austin Gray. He's a wonderful human being. In fact, he lives in Missouri now, and I'm in Kansas. I mean, we're just hours away from each other. Austin used to say famously in the office all the time, we would have these meetings, and Austin would say, train hard, fight easy. Train hard, fight easy. And it's a military saying. It means if we train hard in training, if we work out hard in the gym, if we, do process development before it's needed, when the time comes, when the pressure is applied, it's not a sink or swim, put out fires, be reactionary moment. It is a very proactive moment where you get to exercise the muscle memory that you've already developed with a level of calmness and efficiency that is mind boggling. I was thinking, and it leads to action. And of course, that made me think of the book I put out 2022, right? Action Leadership from the Edge. And what I wrote about and what I'm talking about today is everybody, every single person, my belief, my personal belief, every single person on the planet is built, is developed, has the purpose to lead others in some type of way. Small group, big group, official, unofficial, have a positive influence, a sense of leadership in some way. And so I encourage people in this written work, I say, so these are the ways that you can identify your talents. You need to take action. I personally believe it's a faith thing. I think God created us that way. If you don't believe in God and you believe in some other kind of intelligent creation or whatever, that's fine. But for the purpose of the work and for the purpose of the talk today, it's everybody is created to have a positive influence and add value to others in some way. And when we choose to not do it, when we choose not to participate, when we pull back and do nothing rather than pull back and work on process development and train ourselves, We create a gap. We create a gap in excellence. The universe hates these gaps. And so the universe will allow bad actors to fill those gaps. And that to me is where poor leadership and poor decision making and reactionary, putting out fires type of events become the norm. And my goal is to help organizations avoid that norm. So today, I put out an email talking about some AI tools that I'm going to talk about on Thursday in my live that I do on Thursday mornings at 10 o'clock. And I put out that email and I got some responses right away. And then I replied to a couple of those responses. And then I got kind of a, well, it's kind of slow right now. We're doing the best we can. But. Okay, fine, whatever. Then in LinkedIn messaging, I got a couple of messages from dealer owners that I have trained recently. And I was like, hey, let's check this out. And so hey, how you guys doing? What's going on? What are you working on currently? What's your theme? What are you building? And what I got back was, well, the weather's really not been in our favor lately. So, we're hate to say it like this, but like we're waiting for the weather to clear up so business can pick up. Waiting. What are you doing while you're waiting? It's like that's the other part of the question. What are you doing while you're waiting? Are you doing service department role plays with your staff? Is your staff calling customers that haven't been in the service department for the last 9 months to get them pre-scheduled before the weather breaks? Is your sales department fully optimizing the leads that have been coming in? Are you pre-setting appointments with people and verifying appointments based on a schedule? Are you right? So all of these questions come up. What does your process tell you? What do you have a process map that you can share with the staff that says this is what we do, when we do it, and why we do it? Have you trained people on these things? Because here's what happens. The weather's going to break. I don't care if you're a doctor. I don't care if you're running a dealership. I don't care if you have a bookstore, a coffee shop, whatever it is that you do. If there's a reason why, here in February, it's a little bit slow, what do you do to overcome that? What do you do to prepare for when it's not slow? What do you do to create efficient processes for when it's busier, right? How do you train hard so you can fight easy? If I'm going to steal a term from Austin, and I keep giving Austin credit for it. He's the one that said it to me over and over and over again. I'm sure he didn't make it up, but train hard, fight easy. It makes total sense. And so, if there's any kind of inspiration that I can share with you today, if there's any kind of positivity or any kind of, hey, Kurt, give me a kick in the butt. I want you to think about if you knew me back in 2015, you saw a very fat Kurt. My head used to go straight into my shoulders, like boom, like none of this gap was here. It used to go whoop straight into my shoulders, and boom, and I just right. Getting on and off airplanes. I didn't really fit in the seat too well, none of that. So when I left Ducati and I went to Suzuki and I moved that 500 miles south, me and my wife, we made the decision we're going to lose some weight. Like we got to lose some weight. This isn't healthy. It's not good for us raising our young kids. We got to lose some weight. And so you'll see I'm wearing a Spartan shirt today. As I began to lose some weight, I began to hike. I began to jog. I began to run, which led to warrior dashes and Spartan races and things like that. Then we joined like a fat camp and we worked out 5 days a week. We really altered our intake and our diet quite a bit, and we shed a bunch of weight. When we lost that weight, I said, I'm going to run or bike in some kind of event once a month. Now, this was before COVID. So I'm going to run and or bike in an event at least once a month. And that gave me the inspiration to have something to do. But to do it, I had to train hard, fight easy. Train hard, fight easy. So I ran or bicycled or went to the gym every day. I did something. I was active every day. And eventually I told my wife, I said, if I get to my goal weight, we're going to go to Italy so I can run my Spartan Super in Orte, Italy. Folks, half a year later, we were in Orte, Italy, and I was running a Spartan Super race through the mountains of an ancient walled city in Orte, Italy, just an hour north of Rome. You see, when we take the time to train hard, we have the ability to fight easy. And so if I can inspire you today, whether it's whether it is something physical like running or bicycling, or if it's business oriented, again, I'm seeing this all over LinkedIn. Now, if you're paying attention to politics right now, Doge is laying a ton of people off that were doing nothing. They weren't training hard and they weren't fighting easy either. They were doing nothing. And so there's a bunch of cuts. There's a bunch of programs getting cut. There's a bunch of things happening. And a lot of people are charged on one side or the other. They're either Doge shouldn't be able to do it or Doge should do more of it, right? And there doesn't seem to be too much middle ground on this conversation. But it drives me back to the point of where was the action? Where was the action as it applied to the value of what was happening? And I think if we take a look at what most of Americans want or see value in, that wasn't being met. And so when Doge comes in and does audits and puts out emails that say, hey, send us an email back with the top 5 things you did last week, some people find that horribly insulting. But I would challenge you with this. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're in the business space, how do you gleefully issue payroll to people that don't produce or add value to your clients? You don't. You don't. And so if we view the government as a giant corporation, why would we continue to finance individuals that don't produce or add value to the client? And so we can see, we get back to, what do you do when it's slow? What do you do when the timing doesn't keep you truly active? You develop process. You train hard so that you can fight easy. And when you get an email that says, what are the 5 things you did last week? You go, man, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. I took some self-development. I did, personal development. I did this process improvement. I submitted this as a 5S process to my director. It's really slow right now, but these were the ideas I had to move things further when it gets busy. Like, that person's not going to get laid off. Folks, I hope I don't go too far off these rabbit trails. I hope that my message is succinct and clear enough that I'm coming at you in the right way. Again, just in my own personal experience today, emails, direct messages, posts in my feed, I'm getting this weird sensation that we are waiting for something to kick off. We're waiting for some reason. It's slow. And we know that it's going to get busy soon, but we're waiting to see what happens when it gets busy. I want to encourage you, stop waiting, start working, process development, practice, role play, muscle memory, train hard so you can fight easy when it's time to go. Folks, that's it. That's what I have for you. Have yourself a wonderful day. Bye-bye.